Hi, how you doing? Justin here. Today I want to talk a little bit about a thing I call mindful listening. It's kind of music meets meditation. Some of you might already know that I think meditation and mindfulness generally is a very valuable thing, and I would encourage you to check it out if you haven't done so already. You might find that it's the kind of thing that can really enrich your life in many different ways. However, this video today is going to be specifically about how you can use a kind of a meditative state to deepen your understanding and your relationship with music. Now, I'm going to trace it back just a little bit and talk about some of the elements here. First of all, mindfulness. Now, if you've ever explored it before, mindfulness is a kind of way of being very present with whatever's happening in a particular moment. Usually you would train it by learning to focus very intensely on your breath or your breathing. And being able to just stay focused for 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes, whatever, on that one thing can really increase your focus. And when you take that away from the meditation practice into your everyday life, it'll help you be more present, more focused on the things that you're doing, less distracted and always kind of having these kind of thoughts buzzing around. For me personally, I've got a very active mind. We call it a monkey mind, where I'm thinking about lots of different things all the time. And I found meditation to be a really, really amazing thing. It really helped me sleep better. It helped me focus better, when I'm working, when I'm playing. And as on top of just doing regular meditation practice, I discovered this thing called mindful running. Now, the idea with mindful running was that instead of focusing on the breath, you focus on the sensations in your feet while you're running, which I thought was really awesome because it meant that I could tie in my morning run with my meditation, and I kind of got benefits. I don't feel like mindful running was as beneficial as regular meditation, so these days I'm back to running and doing my meditation separately. However, I started thinking about how I could apply that to music and what benefits I could do. I've been experimenting with playing guitar and trying to meditate at the same time and seeing how that ties together. But a couple of years ago now, I unearthed this mindful listening, and it's been such a powerful and beautiful part of my life since then that I want to share it with you, and I think that you could find it a really valuable thing as well. The short version is, back in the day, before there was all of this technology and social media and distractions all of the time, music kind of had a more dominant place in our lives. Like my generation and older would remember like this idea that somebody would bring out a new record. And, for me growing up in Tasmania, that would mean like the new Dire Straits record had come out, and you'd go to the shop and they might not have it, and you'd order it and you'd wait a while and you'd get it. And when you got that record, you listened to it. And you really listen to it. It's not like it was on in the background. You'd put it on the record player and you'd listen to it. And I remember, just sitting in between the speakers and just being mesmerized by the music and being absolutely 100% absorbed in the sounds, in the music, in what was going on. And it was really beautiful and really deep. And what I worry about today, not wanting to sound too much like an old man, but, these kids these days, and the rest of us as well, because it's affected, this social media and distracted life has affected all of us, I think, we don't appreciate music in the same way anymore. It's become a thing that's on in the background, or we listen to it on computer speakers or on, headphones, whatever, earbuds, usually not a very good quality sort of sound experience. And usually we're doing other stuff at the same time. And this idea of mindful listening, and I'd really encourage you to just try it out, right? You'll probably find it pretty profound. At least I would hope so. Especially if you're not doing much listening anyway, or you're usually listening in a distracted state. So you're putting music on while you're cooking or while you're doing something else or working or whatever. Find some music that you really love. And I think it's important that it's not just stuff that other people suggest, although that can also have benefits as well. But finding an album that you really, really love, and then sitting down for 10 minutes, 15 minutes to start off with, maybe longer later on, and doing nothing but absolutely absorbing yourself in that music is already an amazing thing to do. Where I feel like you can get a bit using the mindful meditation techniques with the music, is trying to let your attention drift around in the music until you find it settling on a particular element of the music, and then trying to go deeper and deeper into that element and really hone your attention in on that one thing. It could be the sound of the acoustic guitar. It could be the pick hitting the strings. It could be the sound of the hi-hat or a keyboard or a particular instrument, any particular, like a particular drum. It could be the interactions between instruments. So how are the drums and the bass sitting together? How is the hi-hat and the acoustic guitar sitting together? Where does the vocal sit in the mix? It could be almost anything. I kind of don't recommend maybe going into the lyrics and the meanings of the lyrics, because that's a kind of a slightly different type of thinking. So I'm just within the soundscape, let your attention wander through the music until you find an element, and then really try and zone in on that one particular thing. When the song finishes and it goes on to the next song, you might choose to keep on that same element that you were focusing on, or you might change it. There aren't really any rules. The thing that I'm really encouraging you to do is to get focusing in on the music and rekindling your relationship with music having an importance, a thing that's valuable beyond it just being on in the background. I don't know how many of you are aware of this guy, Victor Wooten. He's one of the greatest bass players of all time. He's written a couple of books about music. The first one's called The Music Lesson, which I would definitely recommend that you check out if you haven't explored his work before. It's a book about how music works. I feel like it's the closest anyone's come to describing how I feel music is, and that is that it's a woman, and that we get better at music by kind of worshipping her. I don't want to get it wrong and paraphrase Victor's stuff wrongly, but that's kind of how I feel, and that when we practice, we're paying attention to her, and she rewards us with music, with being able to get better connected with music. And I think that the listening part of being a musician is underrated, or not underrated even, that's the wrong word. It's underappreciated, that people, even musicians, are not listening to music much anymore. Not in the same way. Definitely, I'm speaking for myself. There was up until maybe 2 or 3 years ago, I was listening to music a lot for work and transcribing, which does involve intensive listening, but I wasn't listening to music for pleasure much anymore, just appreciating music like I would film or whatever, where I just sit down and I get absorbed in something. I was forgetting to do that. Music was always on when I was doing something else, and I don't feel like that's the right level of respect that music deserves. She deserves more than that. And if you want to be a musician, if you want to get in touch with the musician in you and to be able to express yourself using music and get connected at that level, the listening part is something that you can't ignore. I think it's really important that you, regardless of whether you go for this kind of mindful listening, where you really focus in on a specific element and treat it like a meditation for a particular amount of time and try and zone out, or whether you just sit down in front of the speakers with nothing else to do and you don't play with your phone, you don't scroll around on socials while you're listening to it. You just give the music your full attention. I can't express strongly enough how important I think this is. If you want to play music, if you want to be a musician, even at a hobby level, I still feel like it's important to give music that attention, show music some love by really focusing on it and not allowing yourself to be distracted. I feel like this experience of focusing on a particular thing pays off in other parts of my life and potentially yours as well. Whether it's engaging with another human and paying attention to them while you're having a conversation and staying present with what they're saying and not allowing your mind to get distracted into other things or thinking about social media or how many likes you got on something. Like all of that stuff is, I think it's really bad for us. And I think that learning to focus on a particular moment is really, really valuable. So again, I'll recap now just to say, I think it would be a good idea to explore mindfulness and meditation on its own, aside from music. I think it's got a lot of value there, and it will definitely help you. If you've learned to focus on a particular thing, like a mindful approach, it will help you with the musical aspect of that, and be able to help you focus with practicing and staying focused while you're practicing and all of that sort of stuff. I think focus and attention is a really big deal. When I first got into meditation some time ago, I was using an app called Headspace. I found that was really good. These days, I tend to go for Sam Harris's Waking Up app, which teaches the same sort of thing, but there's a little bit more of the kind of, I want to say spiritual, but it's not spiritual like religious, but it's a little bit deeper than just the tangible benefits that you get from meditating as far as attention goes. It goes a little deeper than that. I find it really fascinating and interesting. You might too, you might not. It's a very individual thing. But yeah, so the point of this video is please listen to music, pay it some attention. Try the mindful thing where you focus on a very small element within the music. I think you'll find that really helpful as far as becoming a better musician and learning to transcribe better. And there's lots of tangible benefits there. But there's other stuff that I suspect might just make a difference in your whole being and how happy and content you feel and how well you pay attention in your life. And I think that's a big deal. So look, I really hope you find this of benefit. And if you got any questions, let me know in the comments. I'll answer whatever I can. And yeah, we've got some extra meditations, actual kind of guided meditations for musicians on the website as well. So you might want to go and check that out. And I'll see you for plenty more very soon. You'll take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.